Shaka Smart. Hello, Coach.
Hello.
A little cold weather's not going to keep Ram fans away, Coach.
Hey, thanks for everybody for coming. You guys are tough to get out there in the cold and get out here. And before we get started, I want to give a shout-out to Coach Marlene Stallings and our women's basketball team.
No question.
They're absolutely killing it right now. So
they got votes in the coaches poll.
Well, I've been thinking about that, and we did not talk about that last week, so I wanted to make sure we talked about that before anything.
14-1. Do you get any residuals from Fury?
Well, I think everybody does.
Well said.
It's just a positive energy right now. Coming from both sides. We share a hallway, so both sides of that hallway, and just really excited for that coaching staff and their players.
Great stuff. You finished non-conference play, I believe, the way you wanted to, with an exclamation point.
With a win. You always want to finish with a win, Greg. Our guys are doing a great job of continuing to get better. We still have a long way to go and have to make progress. I think the most important thing for this team, Greg, moving forward is going to be us understanding we're not there yet. We haven't arrived yet. And sometimes when you win some games, all of a sudden, especially in the mind of an 18 to 22-year-old, you might feel like you've arrived. But we just got to keep moving forward and keep making progress, becoming more connected as a unit, and obviously learning how to respond to all different situations that we're going to see in the Atlantic 10.
We had talked a little bit about that 9 o'clock start. Did you think it had any effect on the way you played in the first half or played at all?
No, I mean, our guys are nocturnal anyway, Greg, so I worry a lot more about early starts. So I didn't think so. I thought, if anything, it just made for a longer day.
Right.
Because the worst part of the season is the time leading up to the game on game day, because you just want to get out there and play or get out there and coach. So extended that a little bit, but we were excited when we did get out there.
Your guys came out after halftime, and you could notice this increased energy, intensity. What was said, what was done, what precipitated that boost?
Well, it comes from the players. I think halftime speeches by coaches are overvalued, and I don't think there's any canned speech, obviously, that you can give that's going to give your team spirit or give your team energy. It's not as simple as going in and blasting the team and then they're just going to respond. Sometimes it's a matter of going in and with a level of poise and calm and saying, hey, we make a few adjustments in these areas, then we can be right where we need to be.
Great stuff. Travion Graham, no field goals in the first half, but in the second half certainly came up and was dominant. Finished with 16 in the second half, 20 overall. Certainly he stepped it up in the second half.
Well, I like the way that he's playing overall, Greg, and he's scoring about how he normally scores, but if you really watch closely, he's playing with more talk, with more of a purpose of being an unbelievable teammate, of getting guys involved, getting guys connected, and that's just what's going to keep making him better and better.
Yeah, how important is it for him? Do you have a certain amount of touches you want him to get, or when you come down the floor? I know you call plays for him, but how important is it for the ball to go?
We call a lot of plays. We probably call more plays for him and Javante than really anybody. I would like for him to get more shots than even he does. He leads us in shots, but to be honest with you, Greg, a lot of it is dictated by the defense. And
right.
Trey's a guy that's very unselfish. If a team, there was an awesome play where he had a drive in the second half and he could have shot from in the lane, a little floater or mid-range, but he kicked it to the corner and Melvin Johnson was wide open for a three and Melvin made the shot. So, as a coach, you could say, Trey, you got to shoot that. But no, we got a lot of other guys that can finish plays as well. So if he can get them an even better shot, that's great.
You've mentioned this before. He's a smart player. I mean, he's a talented player, but he's a smart player.
Well, he's come a long, long way in terms of his IQ as a basketball player and made terrific progress. I think, he's someone that gets a lot of attention for scoring, but he impacts our team in a lot of other ways. So I'm really proud of the progress he's making. It's just going to be a matter of how special does he want to become, because if he wants to be that guy that just keeps growing and keeps elevating his game, he can.
As impressive as Travion Graham was, the line that got everybody's attention was Briante Weber's scoring line. 14 points, 3 boards, 9 assists, 7 steals, a block, 0 turnovers. I mean, sensational. Obviously, in the first half, he had 6 of those 7 steals.
He did. You know, with our defense, we want to disrupt people. We want to pressure them. We want to get them out of their comfort zone, and Briante's a big part of that. I thought he played within himself. And, you know, it's amazing, ironic, I guess, that when you play within yourself, you're able to do what he did statistically. But to be honest with you, Greg, statistics are such a very, very small way to measure the impact of a point guard. It's about making your teammates better. It's about making your team win. It's about getting your team into offense, offensively, defensively, making sure everyone's on the same page. And that's where we got to keep making progress.
How about that play at the end of the half where he took it the length of the floor and went right to the hole?
Well,
was that called for him?
It was. He showed a lot of poise there. If you remember, we called a timeout. I told the ref if we get the ball back, can we use a timeout, because we had it's called a use it or lose it timeout, where you have a short timeout you can use, or you don't get it if you don't use it. And there was 5.4 seconds left. We thought that was just enough time to run him down the floor, cut a couple guys out of his way, and then let him drive and attack and either pass or shoot, and he made the right play.
It was great stuff. Are you seeing, you've talked about how he's the most energetic person you've ever met, but you've also said you want to make sure he's not playing out of control. Are you seeing him harness all that energy and enthusiasm?
At times. Yeah, at times. I think it's a daily battle. It's something that even if you win the battle today, you still have to work to win it tomorrow. And, I unfortunately, or fortunately, however way you look at it, the guy, just like Javonte Reddick, a lot of our other guys, he's not going to be a finished product by the time he's done playing at VCU. So you just want to keep making them better, keep moving them forward, first and foremost as people. And then, the basketball part hopefully will follow.
We talked a lot last week about the need to be more physical because they had Jamil Warney, who was a really big-time center. Mm-hmm. Were you happy when it was all said and done with the amount of physicality from your post players?
Yeah, I thought they did a nice job. I thought Terrence came in and gave us some good minutes. He had a terrific week of practice and really helped us build a level of physicality in practice. We're still not we have, as I told those 3 guys, a 3-headed monster that's 750 pounds in Javonte, Mo, and Terrence. I think that's a metaphor that excites me more than excites them. But we really have, how many teams have that? And so, but for those guys to work together and utilize what they have is something that we need to continue to work towards.
You mentioned Terrence Shannon. You said he had an impressive week of practice, a record-breaking week, right? With your effort chart, can you talk about that?
A record-breaking day. He had a great week, but he had one specific day where he set the highest effort chart number that we've had in practice.
Is that something you guys developed? Did you adapt it from somebody else? Because I love that.
It's a Billy Donovan thing, and Coach Grant did something similar when he was here. Billy's always been big on that ever since I've known him, and obviously before that. There's a bunch of positive columns where you can get a point for a deflection or a steal or a block or an offensive rebound or a transition score. There's about 15 positives, and then you get a negative for a turnover, and you get a negative for what we call middle drive, which is letting your guy go by you to the middle of the floor, which is a no-no. So again, to be in the negative, you have to really work at not doing all those positive things. Most of the time, a good score in practice would be 12, 15, 18, depending on how long practice is, obviously. But 31 by Terrence the other day, that's the best we've seen.
That's again, this is in practice. That's really, really impressive. Speaking of Mo, you had mentioned an NFL scout was coming in to look at Mo. So what do you think?
He just said physically. He said, first thing he said, he looked at him. He said, "Yep, that's how they look."
Meaning NFL tight ends or
guys that are
safety
that can play at that level. No, I think he's a little bigger than a safety, Greg. But he just said he was impressed with watching him and seeing the way he moved and that sort of thing. And obviously Mo's a freshman, so there's a whole lot of time still for him to be here and do great things at VCU. But it's good that he's on the radar.
Great stuff. We're going to take a quick timeout. When we come back, we're going to talk about the next opponent, a familiar face, George Mason, who's back to being a conference opponent. And we obviously opened up your questions on Twitter, #SmartShow. So we're going to read a couple of those questions as well and talk about, once again, the ESPN Infinity Coaches Charity Challenge, which you're involved in, and the voting's underway, and we got to get people voting. So we're going to talk about that. Quick timeout. This is the Shaka Smart Radio Show live from Home Team Grill and the Fan on ESPN.